BlackBerry.com.
Hi everyone, Adam Zeiss here for BlackBerry.com. I'm going to take a quick look at RIM's newly released Twitter for BlackBerry client, which is now publicly available. It's still in beta, but it's available in the beta zone in BlackBerry App World. But we're going to check out the application. If you are already a Twitter user, you may or may not want to watch this video. This is more of a kind of a one-on-one on how Twitter works for people that have never really used it or don't understand it. So we're going to get a quick idea of some of the functions and the different aspects of what Twitter can do as far as the Twitter app goes. So you fire it up, we go ahead and log in here, you put in your credentials. If you don't have an account, you have to go to twitter.com and you can sign up. It's free and easy. And then once we get the application loaded up here, it's going to bring up our screen and we're going to see everything. So right away we have our menu bar up across the top here. It does take a little bit for it to load for the first time, so we'll see when everything pops up. But there we have our timeline. So we can see up top on the menu bar we have our home button for our home timeline. We have mentions, we have lists, which we'll get into, my profile, direct messages, find people, Twitter search, and last but not least, popular topics. So that's for your trending topics. So here's your home screen here. So this is your timeline. So this is everybody that you follow on Twitter. So they're basically friends, not necessarily people that follow you back, but just people that you follow. So anybody that you find interesting that you want to have in your timeline. You can see I have a lot of friends here. A lot of it is just different RSS feeds that are pumped into Twitter. A lot of news sites. You can use Twitter for anything really. There's all kinds of different applications for it. You can have your list of friends that you want to keep up with, basically just every little group. You can have your family. A lot of people just use it as a news feed, so you just have things like breaking news and CNN, any RSS feeds from blogs or anything like that have Twitter feeds. So you can pretty much just use it kind of as like a mini RSS reader, and it pumps all your news in there, and everything shows up like that. So that's your basic timeline, and then we have our mentions tab. So this is anybody that has a mention to you. So it's where they put the little @ sign in front of your name, and they're kind of directing the tweet towards you. So anybody that replies to you or anything like that is a mention. It used to be called a reply, but now it's a mention. So if they're shooting out something directly to you, and you can put more than one person in there. So if they're talking to a couple different people. So it's kind of a directed message, but it's not a private message, so anybody else can see that as well. And that's where the direct messages come in. And direct messages are pretty much what they say. It's a direct message to one person, so it's kind of like an email. It just goes straight to the other person, and you don't really have to worry about anybody else seeing it. It's totally private between the two of you, and that's for a one-on-one message. The next thing we have here is lists. Lists you can create online on your account. It's a fairly new feature. And so we have here, I have friends, news, and BlackBerry. So my BlackBerry list here is just all the BlackBerry friends that I have on Twitter, any of the moderators, writers, anything like that. So I can just check their feeds real quick. And I have a news feed, which is comprised solely of just my news feeds. So if I don't want anything from my friends or anything like that, I can pop into the news one. And then I have friends, which is kind of the opposite of my news feed. It just weeds out all the news and everything. So if we jump into our list, and you can set your list to public or private. So if you have a friends list that you want and you just want only you to be able to see it, you can set it as a private list. So here is my news feed, and this just has all my news things. You can see there's nothing from any of my friends or anything in this list. So it's cool to keep up. So you can have that separate. So if you follow a lot of people, it's good to kind of split up into the list. It just gives you a couple more options. And we jump into my friends list here, and we can see that none of my news feeds are in here. So this is just all my friends. So if you want to keep them apart, I don't have that many people that I follow, so really keeping up with the timeline altogether isn't too bad. But if you ever just want to split it up and look through, and you can set up the feeds for different things. If you have one, for tech blogs or just national news or whatever you have, you can set up a different list for that. Just makes things a little bit easier. And then in the app here we have my profile, which brings you in. It just shows you your latest profile. You can actually check out your own timeline, your followers, who's following you, any of your favorites. If you mark anything as a favorite, if there's a tweet with a link or something like that or some big news, you can mark it, and other people can actually see what your favorites are, which is kind of cool. So we'll check out, we have find people here. You'd be able to type in any user or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and look for Crackberry, and it's going to search through, and it'll pull up the list. So see, we have here Crackberry is obviously the number one. Then we have Crackberry Kevin, who should be number one, but he's number two. And then myself there, and then we have all the different Crackberry Twitters that float down through the list there. So here you'd be able to click onto it. You can see the little profile. If you're not following, you'll have the option to follow. And then again, the same thing here. You can view the tweets, who's following them, who they're following, any of the favorites, anything like that. We'll check out our menu list real quick. You can see the top section here is the same as our menu bar. It's got direct messages, list, mentions, all that good stuff. The one thing we didn't check was the popular topics. This is trending topics on Twitter. Follow Friday, TGIF, our favorite person, Robert Pattinson. So this just shows you the topics that are trending throughout Twitter. So if we jump into one of them, it'll give you a quick little list of all the most recent tweets that have that topic in there. So we'll jump back into the menu here. We have our compose tweet box. So this is where you would send your tweet. You can send up to 140 characters. So and you can write in there, I'm making a video for Crackberry, whatever it is, send update, and that'll shoot your tweet out. If you want to send a mention to somebody and direct it towards them, you would put the little @ in there. If you're sending a mention to me, type in my name first, and then this is going to show up in whatever client I use. It's going to alert me that I have a new mention. So a lot of times it just makes it easier for people when you use the mentions to direct it to them, because some people just kind of skip through their timeline, or they have a ton of people that they're following, and they won't notice it if you don't shoot it out as a reply. So it does make a little bit of a difference. And we have our options here. Not a whole lot going on. We have include Twitter in the BlackBerry messages. So this is going to show your direct messages and replies into the messages application. So it'll be mixed in with your emails and everything, which is very cool. And then you can reply straight from there. It keeps you from having to go into the app. We have automatic refresh. You can set it to 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes, or an hour. A lot of people like that set lower if you're a big Twitter user, but if you're just starting out, 5 minutes, probably even 10 or 15 minutes is plenty. We have notify on new tweets, notify on replies and mentions, number of tweets per refresh. So every time it refreshes, that's how many tweets it's going to grab. So if you have it set to like an hour or something like that, and you get more than, say, 100 tweets in that hour, it's only going to pull in that 100. And then we have a spell check for navigation, or check for upgrade rather. Navigation bar is that menu that we had up top. You can choose to show that. And then we have the tweet box on the home screen. If we check that, it's going to show the update box constantly on top of the home screen here, so you never have to go into the menu to open it. So that's pretty much it for the most part. A lot of people are skeptical about Twitter, not really sure what the deal is, but it's totally free to try out, so you can give it a shot. There's all kinds of different uses. It's great for getting quick answers to questions. If you have friends you want to keep up with, and you're not going through email or anything like that, you can use Twitter for that. My favorite part has to be the news feeds. I like just having everything in there, so you don't really have to crank open an RSS reader or anything like that. So definitely worthwhile, worth checking out. It's totally free. You can sign up for an account at twitter.com, and then you can download RIM's official Twitter for BlackBerry from BlackBerry App World. It's located in the beta zone. And that is Twitter for BlackBerry.